Welcome back to Smarktank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2, and we are here to continue on with our Retromania Rewind.
Yes. I am Donnie Wonderful, by the way, the benevolent intelligent, and that voice that introduced us is my man, the incredible, the immaculately talented Joey Business.
Thank you for that introduction, but it wasn't necessary because there is no introduction good enough. We've decided to do a guilty pleasure of doing a review, short-form review of all the WrestleManias of the past. And
we call it Retromania.
Retromania. So we are at number 3. And these videos aren't going to be as long as our usual contemporary videos because we kind of jump around. We really want to touch just key points because let's face it, some of these are chores for these matches to get through, and quite honest, it's been years and years since I've watched a lot of these. Some of these don't have any memory for me at all.
You don't remember the Can-Am connection?
I sure the hell don't.
With defeating Bobby Orton and the magnificent Don Morocco?
Nope, but you can tell me about it if you remember it.
Not at all.
That's right. So we're going to skip that. Sorry, folks, if that's your favorite match. Just like this next one, Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules with the late great Bobby Heenan ending in a double countout. I don't remember shit on that.
I don't remember that either, but I do remember the third match of this card, the Haiti Kid with Hillbilly Jim and Little Beaver, the midget match. They fought King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook. I just remember Hillbilly Jim saying, I was watching a documentary about this, how he was saying at the end of the match, he's holding one of them, he's carrying one of them, cradling him in his arms and saying actually how heavy he was.
Yeah.
And I just remember that from many moons ago, years ago. And that match, that always stuck with me. And, later on as I grew older in life, I was able to see it. But the next match, I remember that. Harley Race with the late great Bobby Heenan.
Again. Yeah.
Fabulous Moolah.
Yep.
Defeated the JYD, the Junkyard Dog. I absolutely loved his entrance, and his theme song back then was Grab Them Cakes. The JYD. I remember my father and his friends would just rave about the JYD, the Junkyard Dog. He was essentially our Stone Cold if you mix with John Cena, mix with Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean?
Very outgoing personality.
Yeah. So we've heard, and he was a really huge star back in the 80s and even during this time. But I guess he had his heyday before the WWF. But I do remember that match. I remember that being a good match. Harley Race was a great worker, of course, a legend, the late great Harley Race. Actually, everyone in this match has passed away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think of it. Wow. Yeah, time flies.
Time does fly.
Thus far, like you said, is
yeah, sometimes all you need is just the memory of the moment in the match or the moment before the match that will really connect with you. Again, I'm drawing a blank on this one. The Dream Team, Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine with Dino Bravo and Johnny Valiant.
Okay,
beating the Rougeau brothers.
So this is where, and I can tell you the significance of this is where Brutus turned babyface. So after this, he became Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Okay.
So that was the significance of that.
Gotcha.
But as far as being a match that you would remember, back then, the styles were different. So
right.
So even compared to now, it would be. I guess it would mean something because now, pay-per-views happen every month, so they're really expendable at this point. Other than the WrestleManias, the SummerSlams, and the Survivor Series.
Right.
But back then, everybody had a controlled pace and style of work.
Yeah.
Kayfabe was still,
Kayfabe was alive and well.
It was
very protected back then.
Yeah.
It was a requirement. Pretty much.
Oh yeah.
But I don't really remember that. The next match, I'm a huge Piper fan.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember this match with Adrian and Adonis, really.
If you fast forward 9 more years from now, you'll get the version 2.0 with it with Roddy Piper and Goldust.
Yeah.
I always thought Adrian Adonis was one of those flamboyant type characters that it was an appeal. I don't mean flamboyant in a disrespectful way. I mean, like his character, like the adorable Adrian Adonis. The guy wear eyeliner and
guy liner.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next, so I mean that didn't have a significance for me. No. Or this match, but this must have for you.
Of course.
Dangerous Danny Davis and the Hart Foundation, Brett and Jim Neidhart, with Jimmy Hart defeating the British Bulldogs and Dynamite Kid with Tino Santana. So I don't recall this match either.
This one was funny. I mean, anytime you get so like the story with the Hart Foundation and the British Bulldogs go back to Stampede.
Yeah.
Stampede Wrestling with Stu Hart, Bret Hart's dad being the promoter there. With Tito Santana was one of the originals, the Arriba Man. And then you had Dangerous Danny Davis. Now, this was kind of funny. Dangerous Danny, they would tag him in. He would do one move and then tag out. So, like, the whole time you wanted to see Dangerous Danny get his ass whipped.
Right.
Because he was a corrupted referee. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, he'll come in, do a body slam, tag back out.
Right.
So, like, whoever choreographed that and his involvement, I thought was hilarious. And then, of course, the Hart Foundation and Dangerous Danny won. So that's what made it even better for me as a diehard Bret Hart fan. Right. And then
so they were heels.
Yeah, they were definitely the heels.
Yeah.
Then after that, and it went, it had a decent pace, man. We have here that the time of that match almost went 10 minutes. Everything else, kind of the average of all the matches that came before was about 5 minutes.
Right.
But you knew those guys could work.
Yeah, they could work, and like, it's not like you were expecting them to work half hours back then. Where some matches today you'll give half hour, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. You get more. It's a different style. It's more longevity now. Yeah. The next match, I sure the hell don't. Butch Reed with Slick versus Coco Beware.
There's more filler. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's the spectacle matches. However, number 9 on this WrestleMania is what I consider. We were just talking. I mean, we have off air our conversations about greatest matches ever. Sometimes this is in that category for me. Mm. It's the biggest standout. It's certainly the greatest match in this WrestleMania. I don't care what the history records say. Mm-hmm. It is the pinnacle of WrestleMania for this.
Okay.
And it is like, so you want to become a wrestler? I want you to watch this match. It's the perfect textbook.
So Ricky Steamboat defeating Randy Savage.
Yeah, it's the blueprint.
So tell me why
because
it's the blueprint.
Everything in the match had purpose, and everything in the match was done with a fluidity and crispness that no other match in many years has had. I mean, it wasn't over-the-top spectacle. It was just good wrestling. So good that it just bordered great because it was just execution. The execution was perfect.
Okay. Would you consider this to be Macho Man's greatest WrestleMania match?
Yes, I would.
Even 100%. More so than what he would do 4 years later at WrestleMania 7?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I would also consider it Macho Man's greatest match of all time.
Okay. Even more so than Macho Man and Flair at WrestleMania 8?
Yes.
I mean, I
love both of them, Flair and Macho Man. And I'm a huge Macho Man Randy Savage fan. Yes, I consider it the pinnacle of Macho Man's career is this match.
And to be clear, I actually agree with you. I just want to try to see if I can drum up an argument for another match in his catalog at a WrestleMania.
I don't think he ever topped this match with Steamboat ever in his career.
Now, I do think this is Wrestling 101 with the near falls and so on and so forth.
So crisp. The timing was perfect.
Yeah.
There was nothing like, it didn't drag. There was no lulls in it that were like, oh, come on, pick up the pace type of deal. It was just well done all around.
I guess the only reason why I'm trying to argue it, because if you ask guys, I remember hearing like Chris Jericho and Stone Cold say that, Steamboat and Savage was their favorite match, and like you've heard it, it's almost become cliche and
Legend.
taboo, and and legend, that everybody would, like, their consensus go to would be Savage and Steamboat.
But there's a reason. Yeah.
And there is a justified reason.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, if you never watched that, let's hop on the network or however you can see it. Take a look at Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage, and you let us know if it aged well.
Right.
And then what I would challenge people to watch after that would be Savage and the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7. Career versus career.
That was good. Yeah.
So, I'm there with you. The match that followed that, the Honky Tonk Man and Jake Roberts, I have to go back and actually watch that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Or if I have it, it's not memorable enough. Then, so we skip that. The next match would be, obviously, one of the most memorable matches in sports entertainment.
The Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov versus the Killer Bees.
Whoops.
We all going in here in order.
Yeah, never mind.
I was waiting. I was gonna give you the open floor. Like, tell me about it. All 5 minutes and 44 seconds of it. Go ahead.
Not even close. Nope. Go. No.
I
don't remember that match either.
Yeah, I mean, like for historical purposes, the Pontiac Silverdome.
The Superdome.
Yeah, we're not gonna make that Hulk Hogan blunder here. But like this, even though we're skimming through this, like, this is actually a watchable pay-per-view of WrestleMania, in my opinion, just for that old nostalgic feel of back when everyone took the business seriously.
Yeah.
Kayfabe, was, like you said, was alive and well, and like it just always reminds me on the style of wrestling that I grew up watching. Until it got, of course, like the new generation era, everybody had jobs, and you have the TL Hoppers, and shout out to TL Hopper and all that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But the match that you were describing,
yeah, the main event,
was the main event. Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant had never had a world title run.
Yep.
And was kind of his name was large enough, even larger than the title himself.
Yep.
So when he sides with or gets brainwashed by the late great Bobby Heenan and challenges Hulk Hogan,
man, he collected a lot of checks for this pay-per-view.
Ooh, he sure did. Man. he sure did, man. And this match here is iconic. I mean,
it's so iconic because of wrestling folklore and because of wrestling behind the scenes too.
Yeah.
At this point, Andre had never lost a match.
Mm.
He'd never jobbed. Never. And there's a lot of great lore about this match. Like, so, from a historic point of view, oh, there's the fireworks. My dog is awake now. It's okay, baby. So, from historic point of view, you have the clip that will be played for the end of time. Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant. Something that you still didn't think was possible. And I assure you that Andre didn't look like he jumped. Because I don't think Andre could jump.
Mm.
And so kudos to Hulk Hogan for body slamming him. And no, it wasn't a technical marvel. That was the Savage and Steamboat. But this was still amazing.
Mm.
It's still something that if you were like on a game show and they were like, speed round, name the greatest matches of all time, blah, 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 WrestleMania 3, you'd be like, oh, Hogan, Andre. Yeah. It would just come to your mind because it's so iconic. It's burned in your brain. But what's even more cool, as I've gotten older, I've found behind the scenes tales are just as fun as the in the ring stuff. So Hogan didn't know 100% that Andre was going to job to him.
Wow.
And he went in there going, Andre calls it on the fly. And he remembered him saying that he was going to job to him. But even Jim Ross was like, yeah, you never knew that Andre was going to follow through. He could have had a change in the match. And if he did, and Andre calls an audible, how do you stop that? Because he's legitimately a giant. So what they did was Hogan was like, if Andre says, yep, go home, then we go home. If Andre says, we're going to go another 20 minutes, we go another 20 minutes. If Andre says, I don't feel like losing, then Andre wins. And he goes, and I know Vince would have been madder than a Hornet, but you know what? It didn't matter to me at that point. He said, Andre is one of those guys who calls the shots.
Right.
And we respect him calling the shots. And so, he had that level of respect that he could command. And if he decided to call an audible, that was it. That was the way the pay-per-view was going to go. That was the way the live show was going to go. And I don't know how they would have found their way out of that. I'm sure they would have worked on something. So this match, to me, for many reasons, including the behind-the-scenes reasons, has so many layers to it. And if you ask people, like, ask Edge, ask all these other people, they're going to tell you, Hogan Andre, WrestleMania 3. It like, the argument can be made for Savage and Steamboat as much as it can be made for Hogan and Andre for that match of that time.
So let's say this, because it is what it was then, but the pay-per-view or the event was sold on Hogan versus Andre.
Course, right.
But the best match on the card was Savage versus Steamboat. Yeah,
and I think that was the first instance of, like, the workhorse coming through. Because the Intercontinental title, maybe it started, that was where it started. The Intercontinental title eventually evolved in what they called the workhorse title.
Yeah.
The title between the two talents or the multiple talents on the card that you knew were going to give you the best effort going through for the night.
Right.
And most likely we're going to steal the show. And if you look in the 90s and some of the 2000s, some of the 2000s, that was absolutely the case. You had Jericho and Benoit. Those always stole the show. You had,
we'll definitely get there too.
There's so many instances of the Intercontinental title being a much better match than the main event. So many. And this was one of those times. It was probably the first time in history at that time where it was better than the main event. And I don't think they planned it that way. I don't think they knew. I think it was just one of those things where they said, that was an amazing match.
Yeah.
Those guys kicked the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So, from what you say, it's a WrestleMania that's memorable to me, but it's not one I could sit down and watch all the way through. I couldn't watch all that filler.
Yeah, there's 12 matches on the card. They said the longest they gave to Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage at 14 minutes 35 seconds, and then the second longest was the main event. And then, like the rest, you could catch on like a Superstars at the time or Saturday night's main event. And you'll have that with the next few WrestleManias coming up, especially like when we do WrestleMania 4, where essentially the entire pay-per-view was a tournament. But we'll talk about that on the next episode of Retromania. So do you have any parting words, remarks for WrestleMania 3?
Expect a few short videos coming up.
Well, there you guys have Retromania. This is us reviewing WrestleMania 3. Like I said, if you have any access to it, just watch it and let us know what you guys think.